Hello, Mr. Magazine. Welcome to the morning show in Business Standard.
Thank you for having me.
I'll begin by asking you the COVID story. What happened to the Indian real estate sector really during that time?
I think the first impact, of course, was on construction. A lot of the projects that were ongoing there was a standstill immediately. So that was a bit of a shock for everybody because this could be office, residential, retail. I mean, there's so much construction happening just came to a standstill. And of course, whatever happened with labor, etc., everybody knows about it. So I think that supply getting constrained, the work stopping was the first shock. And then the other part, of course, I mean, there are many other small things that happened, but one key impact was that decision-making became slow as far as the investors and occupiers are concerned, because there was so much uncertainty and nobody wanted to take decisions. A lot of times there were transactions which are happening, they came to a standstill. So there was, of course, a significant impact on the real estate industry like any other industry.
But, what I have read and what I've heard from people is there was a minor blip on the real estate sector and it was not really a major blow. Is that a correct assessment?
I would agree with that. And the reason for that is if you look at it from the other side, it could have been much worse, especially what we went through during the pandemic. Those few months in the summer were just horrific. The impact overall could have been worse. So that way we are fortunate. And the second part is the recovery was quite substantial in a short period of time. I think that's what helped us.
When you say recovery, you're talking about the residential sector, the commercial space, retail. What exactly are you referring to?
There was recovery all across, but no doubt it was relative. So residential was first to kind of start picking up to some extent, I would say, because there has been pent up demand, and I think COVID, as you know, also created that whole mindset that everybody is looking more at wellness, their own life. They're questioning. People want more space. So and one other important part, the interest rate, the mortgage interest rates had been low. Those were not impacted. So that helped the residential sector's recovery really starting earlier than others. And then we are seeing on the commercial front now, because India is a major offshoring destination, as you know, and our office market is primarily driven by technology firms, and we still, those fundamentals are intact.
In your recent Outlook report, you have kind of charted a growth path for Indian real estate in 2022. So are you betting on commercial more or on the residential space this year?
We do expect the residential to continue to, I can use the word thrive, because there is, like I mentioned, the demand is there. Not only people are upgrading their homes, where everybody wants a better quality of life. Like I mentioned, health and wellness, open areas, etc., larger spaces. But also office space will do better than, is expected to do better than last year. There's a huge expansion on the logistics side of real estate. And even this year, there will be a significant increase in logistics space take up compared to last year. And then we are seeing relatively new areas like data centers, co-living, student housing, all of that again coming back to life to say after post-COVID.
Isn't office space the tricky one? Because, you don't know whether it's going to be hybrid office, whether it's going to be back to office fully. There are mixed signals still, and so many companies had given up office space during the pandemic. So how is it panning out?
You're right. The fact is that there is this whole talk about hybrid working, which is, I think, here to stay. More than 60% of our office occupiers are technology firms. Those firms are expanding. Whilst they would be hybrid working space, the other unique part about India is that we have a young population. So a lot of these large office developments or spaces The majority of the employees are young. Those young people want to go out, and a lot of the large campuses and office spaces and tech firms and others also, be it a BPO or a software development or any tech and other offices, there are a lot of facilities which are there in the office space. So when people go there, there's cafeteria, there's food provided, transportation provided, there's kind of social, it's also a social gathering, you get to know people. So I think that is very difficult to substitute at home.
There was an interesting survey recently where about 50% of the sample said that they would prefer real estate to any other asset classes like gold or stocks. So do you think that confidence is real?
That confidence is real, especially in Asia. Our Indian mindset and the Asian mindset is that physical asset. I think most investors do not get maximum comfort from owning a physical asset, right? That's one. Second is, how many opportunities are there to invest? Where does one invest? You can put that much money in the stock market. Stock market is great, but it is volatile, although it's more liquid. But you can only put that much. So everybody does diversify. And traditionally, real estate has always been, a preferred investment. And historically, if you look at people who had invested in real estate, the returns in India have been, I would say, unparalleled globally. That is going to change as our economy matures, as a real estate market matures. We don't expect the returns what has been seen historically. However, still, because we are an undersupplied market overall, India still has many years to grow. The real estate investment will continue to give returns and will remain a favorite investment destination. Going forward, like I mentioned, as we develop further, as we mature, anybody investing in real estate should take an informed decision. They should really decide on why they're investing, not just because it's real estate, you should buy it.
It's interesting that you're talking about informed decisions. Recently, there was a case of Supertech, which has gone into insolvency. There are other bad stories in real estate. So where is the check, and is there any cleanup that is happening in the sector?
Certainly, I think one area which doesn't get enough recognition, although does, is RERA. So there is some regulation, although personally I'm against too much regulation because it just slows down things. But there is a RERA, at least projects are getting registered. And that is one comfort the consumer should have. But besides RERA, please do your due diligence, look at your legal papers properly. Because part of the reason, of course, a lot of the projects got delayed or didn't come in is many people's fault, but it's also the consumer himself or herself. That's why I said you should be cautious and make sure that you take that extra advice, legal advice or otherwise. Do your due diligence properly before you invest, because real estate is an expensive investment.
Finally, question on prices. There has been a buzz that because construction material prices are going up, do you see real estate prices going up in the near term?
Prices are expected to go up to some extent. Very difficult to say how much, etc. One of the reasons, of course, is besides demand, is also inflation. The cost of input costs have gone up. But overall, I feel that what we have, like I mentioned earlier, what we saw historically, those abnormal price rises, that is not expected to happen. But certainly, there will be price appreciation at realistic levels.
Thank you so much, Mr. Magazine, for joining us in the show.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.